It almost seems like a bit of like a Stately Manor kind of house. It's a big old thing.
Tower with
Bins
Oh,
Lane.
yeah.
No, not Bins Lane.
Spring Lane.
Spring Lane.
New Mill.
Yeah.
Oh, when you come through.
Then the Spring Lane.
Yeah, I didn't realise it's got entrances at both ends.
Yes. Well, it's got two entrances, but only one's used.
Right.
The other's padlocked.
Right, it's 7 o'clock, so we'll start. Thank you and welcome everybody, and welcome to our members of the public. So, open session at planning. At the commencement of the meeting, there will be an open session lasting up to 15 minutes for members of the public to address. And we have 2 members, but just one speaker, is that right? Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll listen to what you have to say. We have some other things to go through, but we'll get through those fairly quickly, and then we can change the running order. We'll bring that application to the front of the list. That makes sense. With 19 to do in total, so we'll bring it forward.
I mean, I have got photographs of the deed document which I might want to refer to.
Yeah, sure.
I think we hand those over. Yeah.
This is 25 Green Laws.
Number 8 on your list. Number 8.
I'll have to read from a script, otherwise I'll stumble over myself. First of all, Green Laws Close. It's very narrow, it's very steep, and has no pavements, and the house in question is on a sharp bend. That is one of the photographs I think showing how narrow the road is outside of 25. I can show it. Most homes have 2 vehicles, and many of them have a works van. We do miss bin collections because the bin lorry has to back up the street, and if there are any vehicles in the road, it's just impossible. I'd hate to think what would happen if I wanted an ambulance or a fire engine or something, when access is so difficult to the houses at the top. The applicant's plan is to convert a 3-bed semi, which has 3 parking spaces currently, 2 down the drive which is to be built over, and 1 on what was the front garden. It will be converted into a 4-bedroom semi with only 1 parking space, that being the one in front, what was the front garden. The owner has a works van and is a large family car, and frequent visitors' cars and works vans. He is a builder by profession. The extension will remove the 2 parking spaces on the drive, leaving only 1 on the front garden. Any parking in front of the proposed new garage would be on the shaded yellow area on the deeds, which is designated as access and not to be parked on. That document's 42 years old. It was given to me by Ridley and Hall solicitors. I queried them what the yellow shading was, and they told me this is access, not to be parked on. When is an access not an access? The solicitor said when it's parked on. There will be an existing gable wall demolished and a new gable wall moved over to the very middle of what is like a double drive. It will encroach and overpower the view from the downstairs and upstairs window. Should Kirklees be minded to improve this, I would not approve any wall footings being put on my side of the drive, which I think is in the plans that the builder has submitted. I'd also like them to impose a condition that the garage, if it ever does happen, is used for parking a car and not for general storage. The street is littered with cars and vans currently. On a personal note, I have osteoarthritis and I have one artificial knee joint. It's not easy for me getting in and out of my car at the best of times. My car's quite small, it's a Honda Jazz, but it's still a tricky manoeuvre getting in and out of the current drive to my garage door. It would be impossible if there was a 30-foot brick wall there to open my car door. I would be locked out of my house basically, parking my car down the road somewhere. My immediate neighbour has a Mini which he parks on his drive and a pickup truck which he parks down the road. He can't get it anywhere near his house. He parks it half over the pavement and half on the road. The neighbour next to him has a works van and a big Audi. He parks the Audi over the works van at the end of my drive, which makes it difficult to get out. One of the photographs would show that, I suspect, at the end of the drive. His immediate neighbour has two works vans and two house cars. The street is literally littered with them. It's an obstacle course getting in and out of my house. I've been asked to mention Policy 2, Section 10 of the Home Valley Neighbourhood Plan and Policy LP24 of the Kirklees Local Plan, which seek to protect the amenity of neighbours. I think these proposals clearly fail to do that. On a personal note, I've lived here for 42 years. I bought the house when it was new. I could drive my car into the garage, I could open the door, get out. Cars are being now. More people have more than one car at the house, and it's impossible now to fit any car in a standard carriage. Everybody parks outside or on the road. I've seen at least 6 young couples move into this house, number 25. In every case, when the children reach school age, they move. Nobody has proposed anything quite as drastic as this. There are currently 3 objections on the Kirklees planning site, but that does not include mine, which I only put in on Friday. And my immediate neighbour, at number 15, there isn't a number 13, 11 and 15 are adjacent, and he is putting in an objection as well. So there will be 5 objections at least before February the 22nd, the deadline date. I hope you will support my objection to these plans and that the proposal will be refused. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. If you'll bear with us a little while, then we'll just get through the formal stuff and then we'll fetch that one to the front of the list.
Sorry, my wife wants to say something.
Sorry, can I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I didn't know about this.
Has it got anything to do with planning?
I hope it
Sorry. Hello everyone. I'm Ken's wife. My name is Tom Brodigan, and I'm Chinese, and my English is not very good. And in my Chinese way, Chinese people always say nearby neighbors are better than distant cousins. Understand? Yeah, the neighbors is much helpful than your far away relatives. So for me, I always think neighbors should be look after each other, help each other. And now it's happening, and Ken live in the house.
I've always been very happy there. I live in the area and I've had wonderful neighbours and I still have them.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to move.
Yeah, it will be all his life. Honestly, when we married, I think it's I don't like living on the top of the hill, but like that. But he don't want to move. And he just say, oh, I love here. Since I was young, I love here. We have nice neighbors. He always mentioned this. We have nice neighbors. I know from everything. So, but now it happened. I totally understand Ross, number 25, he's doing. He wants to improve his life. I understand, I want to. But now that it's really cold. We can't go home. Because I can imagine if a big wall in the middle can come to open the door, the car door, and that is the only way we can go home, only way the path. Where our back garden door need, on the back must from in front of them can go to the back. And I realized, oh my gosh, I understand you. 42 years, he squeezed.
I'm 73, it's hard.
Yeah, I'm no younger too. I look younger maybe, but I'm not young, sorry. Yeah, and he just squeezed between the car and the tree every time go home. I said we never have a proper way go home where we squeeze. But now another here, because here in the middle
The brick wall.
and the wall, we cut our bin in the
I
garage.
can't get the bins out without moving
Out in the
the car.
garage, so if the wall there, we can't move, put the bin out as well. So I really think, oh my God, I first time feel worried. I never worried. So I think I just wanted, to say, because our house in the side and yeah, no way can
So
go
the
to
wall will
around,
run the
yeah,
whole way to the drive.
yeah. Mm.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, thank you very much.
Okay, item 152. Council meetings can now be recorded, as you all know we are recording this. Does anyone wish to make a further recording? Are we happy with that? Okay. 153, to accept apologies for absence.
Earlier this evening, I circulated apologies from Councillor Bales and Councillor Brown.
And we have
And existing dispensation for Councillor Brown.
okay, thank you.
Do we accept?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to do that. Item 154, members and officers' personal and disclosable pecuniary interests in items on the agenda. Oh, we're relying on you, Mary.
I need to disclose an interest in the new planning applications, item 159, number 3, because I know the
Okay. 156, to consider whether items on the agenda should be discussed in private session. Does that need to be discussed in private? Have I missed something? Oh, sorry. Consider written request for new DPI dispensations.
None have been received.
And is there anything we should be discussing in private this time? I've not seen anything that.
Nothing contentious.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 157, to confirm the minutes of the previous meeting. Are we all happy with the minutes of the previous meeting? All in favour? Thank you. Item 158, complete a Kirklees planning applications list. So to note the list with the views of the committee. Noted. At this point, can we suspend standing orders so that we can bring this one to the front of the list? Is that okay with that? So we'll move straight to number 8 then. This one deals, well, this is one I thought potentially, it's Martin and myself, and you want to kick us off, Martin?
Well, it's more clear to me, listening to you, about the situation, because the diagrams which have been submitted with the planning application and the Kirklees mapping isn't all that clear. But if I read it rightly, are you at number 11?
That's correct.
So your garage is at the bottom of your garden, as it were, and then you share a
Bottom of the
drive.
yeah.
And the building which they're proposing to knock down, actually proposing to knock down half of it.
Yeah,
And then rebuild the garage on the side of the house together with a tall wall.
yeah,
So your vehicular access is now through a sort of a tunnel.
there will be, where that
Yeah.
there will be a brick wall coming in
Yeah.
all the way along the drive.
It is open on the other side, isn't it? There's a hedge
No.
and then an open space.
Yes, but what you have to remember is that, have you got the one in the front showing
I've got a photograph here from Google Maps. It's very clear that there's a hedge and a space.
Yes, but the gable wall opposite is on a higher level.
Yeah.
My house is down here. So the garden,
Yeah, I can see it.
there's no scope
Yeah.
for any moving any further over.
I show you, this is the Ken car, every time we squeeze between this
I
car,
know.
yeah, and go home, and then he going to put a wall in the middle of the wall, yeah, all over, you want this extension,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the steps.
I do understand. I do understand.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Sorry? I struggle to find out how many beds it was, because it only shows a
It's
bed.
an increase of one bedroom with no extra parking. That was my concern.
Yes. And as you say, if the drive moves, if the garage moves up to the side of the house, it does only leave an apron for parking one vehicle. Because from the photographs at first it's not entirely clear because it seems quite broad. In fact, part of it is your access, isn't it?
The
That's on the
plan that you
photograph.
see looks as if the garage doors are together. His will come right up to the yellow access area. I mean, anybody visiting the house will go outside the garage. That will be on the access area, and then it will be possible for my neighbour number 15 to back his car over the access down this drive.
I was extremely surprised to see that the extension goes right up to the edge of the boundary of the,
Yeah,
of the
which is
property,
unusual,
which is
yeah.
not, and it's my understanding there needed to be a meter.
Mhm.
Yeah,
He's
so,
wanting to put some of the footings actually onto my property.
Well, Kirklees have an SPD that covers house extensions, and I just printed a little bit of it off. It talks about two-storey side extensions. Adequate space between buildings should be retained to provide a sense of space, which is important to the character of an area. In particular, two-storey side extensions should not take up all or most of the space to the side of a house. Maintain a 1 metre gap to the side boundary to ensure the building is not too close to a neighbouring property.
Well, it sounds
It's
as though it's
fairly
going to get
clear.
turned down anyway, doesn't it?
It's an SPD, it's not, you know, they can,
An SPD is
it's a supplementary planning document, but they don't have to follow that, it's guidance. But it's a fairly strong.
I mean, to actually build this, they will have to put scaffolding up on the neighbour's land.
So I think that coupled with insufficient car parking spaces anyway for the number of beds, probably suggests to me we'll oppose it.
So intensification,
Yeah.
there's the gap between the properties, highways issues, because you've already, them photos point out that there's already an issue with parked cars, not enough parking spaces as it is at the moment. So if you're taking away parking provision, you're making more highways issues, and like them pictures, it looks really bad. Like if you're the fire engine had to go up there, they'd be struggling.
I mean, when I went up to visit, I mean, I'm not got a big car, but I thought if I was the fire engine, two very nice cars would have got smashed out the way.
Well, when I went there, I had to park not exactly miles away, but couldn't get near.
I mean, unfortunately, this estate was designed before
Yeah.
we had 2 and 3 family cars. I would recommend we actually recommend refusal.
be severely impacted. Side extension goes fully to the boundary. Insufficient parking for a larger drive. Over intensification. High waste concern.
Thank you very much. Bless you.
Thank you.
I would just under the voice, just under the voice.
I guess you realise that we
I
don't
know,
have the
I
final
realise
say.
that, yeah, but
There will be comments
We,
on,
or that they may or may not listen to.
exactly.
so there will be comments on the.
Yeah, we will do. Yeah, we will do.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
for
Thank you.
talking for us.
We'll let you go. Nick. Unless you want us to.
So, really interesting.
Have we got any flat roofs?
That's very good.
We've got an aluminium one somewhere.
We do.
So he's going to get upset about that. And I'm going to get upset with one where they're recommending tarmac for us on the stone.
Okay, so, back to number one then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Don't forget your
Thank you.
17 Cliff Lane. This is another one I thought we should probably all look at because it's a conservation.
Where you go? I've done it for you.
Seen Wool out. The Cliff Lane.
Well, I don't mind this between us,
Yeah.
all day, isn't it?
It's right, it's just some really pleasant cottages, and this extension is, I think, relatively small, and it's right at the end.
It's right at the back.
It's right, yeah, it's right at the end, and it's will have no impact really on the conservation area there. So, I mean, it's just a small extension, so I just thought we should just support it.
The only thing I'd say is reading through the conservation and the energy statements, they were rather offhand. Yeah, no problem, it's just a small development. You know, there was no attention actually paid to what you should talk about. It was just, no, it's only small, don't worry about it. And the way we've designed it, they use the word ensures that it will be okay. Well, it's because it's a test. Presumptuous. Yes.
I sort of slightly hard line on this. I didn't like the metal roof. It's a conservation area, you know, it should be.
There's no should.
No.
That's your preference, it's not a should.
Okay.
No, but there is
in
rules.
a conservation area, is that it should be in keeping with.
Yeah, there is rules for conservation areas, isn't there?
I didn't like the window design, again, I thought it was inappropriate for that building. And it actually obscures a really nice window, an arch window. It seems a great shame.
I mean, I would have liked to have seen the existing window incorporated into
Yes,
the new gable, if you like.
yes.
Because that's a nice feature of that. The building is fairly nondescript in itself, and the one redeeming feature is that window, the arch window, which I thought was a shame that they're not keeping that. I understand the desire for a larger space, but you know, you could at least maintain some of the old building in the new. So yeah, I sort of, like yourself, sort of feel there's good points and bad points.
I mean, in itself, it's only fairly small, and it just seems that the nice features about that in a conservation area, we're losing, so masking it with modern features.
But are these for environmental reasons though as well? Like, I'm just having a look now at the proposed plans. Feature glazing. Just see it's like made out of metal and I don't know. But are these like methods that they're using to try and make things better with climate change, or I don't know? Or do they just trying to make it look nice, or they like it?
It's a matter of aesthetics, isn't it, really? Because I actually thought that with the extension, it would actually improvement on the existing, what they should, you know,
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
we won't always come to a conclusion.
No, and, I haven't particularly strong feelings about it, but I thought it could have been a bit more tasteful with that.
Well, I think we've got to be careful as a committee that we don't impose our taste on other people. We're here to look at planning issues, not taste. And our taste is not better than anybody else's.
I mean, at the end of it, this is in the conservation area, and the conservation officer
They'll
decide
make
anyway.
the decision anyway.
And I suppose the sort of things I'm talking about are conservation issues, which I'm no expert on.
Do we just leave it?
Perhaps we just leave it to them.
Defer it to them, yeah.
We can't come to conclusion, yes. Let them,
Is that all right with them? I mean,
Yeah.
it's fine by me, yeah.
okay, number 2.
Okay.
There was some comments in from Councillor Whitelaw about this, but I think you've had them as well,
Yes.
if you wanted to cover them
Yes.
both off, okay.
This is not a straightforward one. It's a new build, one dwelling on what is currently a piece of land that sits between two lines of housing. And it's supposedly designated as pasture. It's very rough, it hasn't been grazed for a long, long time as far as I can see. And on the face of the technical reports about biodiversity and so on and so forth, there doesn't appear to be a strong case for opposing it on that basis. However, I think there are some significant issues here raised in the neighbours' objections, which I think we should take serious account of in terms of access and loss of immunity. And I think more significantly, this is something that I know the committee will be hopefully looking at later, there are issues that relate to traffic movements that do not unusually part of this planning application, because any access for building lorries or work people would be via Dog Lane, which is very narrow. There is parked cars all the time. It would be very difficult to access down the road to get up to the site. And if there are also building workers there who are trying to park in order to work there, it would be very difficult. There are some, I think, quite difficult technical debates about whether it's a greenfield, a greenbelt area or not. And they've got specialist reports that say that it shouldn't be a problem. I think it's, as I say, it's difficult on the basis of looking at it simply as a single house on a currently unused piece of land, albeit possibly greenbelt. I think for me the broader concerns would be about the impact of the building in terms of traffic on an extremely difficult area. Sarah Whitelaw, Councillor Whitelaw, is opposed to it. And I think I'm also inclined to oppose it on the basis of the issues I've raised, and also on the basis of the neighbours' concerns, which I think are quite legitimate and serious.
Thank you. I mean, it is in greenbelt. This is the second application. They tried before for 2 houses on the same land. And Kirkley has rejected that because it's in greenbelt. There were no special circumstances. They claim that the special circumstance that lets them do this is that it's infill between or within the village. Now that was rejected before, and I can't see what's changed. It's no more a village than it was last year. Yes, there's been a lot of opposition locally, I didn't know. We rejected it last time for saying basically the same issue that Kirklees highlighted. They have done a heritage assessment this time. I thought it was a bit odd. It's obviously a cut and paste job because they've got something about Castle Hill in there. You can see it from.
Well, it's a good eyesight.
You go right to the top of the field.
They also talk about a passive place, which is actually a parking place. It's not a passive place. This was a parking space that was hard won by residents there. personally, I don't see as there's very much change from the last application, and I don't see anything to merit it. Does anybody else want to comment?
Yeah. You said the two key words for me, special circumstances, there isn't any. So for that reason, we should refuse it based on Greenbelt. I've only had a quick look at the plans, but it doesn't look to be in keeping at all with what else is around there at the moment. So you could take that down as well. Is it highways issues or is there anything else?
Yeah, there's highways issues.
It's only quite a narrow lane on there, isn't it?
Particularly when the development gets to the Whitelane Greens, which has been passed, that's due to start soon. This is just going to add to that.
Sorry, which is in price?
Very mill, Whitelane
Oh,
Greens.
is it?
That's last year. I think they're due to start anytime.
I thought it looked all right. I thought, despite the Labour comments, it appears okay, subject to the various conditions that the reports made. It's a home, and we need homes. It's one rather than two.
I think it's less about the actual design of the place, it's where it is, I think. Greenbelt, my picture.
Yeah, but it's about to be law that we can build on Greenbelt, so get used to it.
Oh, yeah.
The refusal, I mean, it's not very long ago, is it 2021? The refusal last time was pretty comprehensive. I can't see Kirklees, and it was simply inappropriate development in the Greenbelt, and I still think that's what it is.
I mean, it's a little bit cheeky if you know something of what's gone on. That land was sold by Whitelane Greens for grazing. And that's what it used before. I think someone's trying to,
I think,
which is fair enough, it's their right to be able to sell it on.
I think if this was approved, the other front part of the field would then have an application.
In a year or two, yeah, definitely.
So the infill would be filled.
But yes, I would take Pat's point about it's in our house. I would take the point. I think there are better places than that.
It's a dilemma, I think, but the shortage of houses makes every one of our decisions a big dilemma.
Anyone else wish to comment? I'm moving to oppose it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got access issues via a narrow road, lots of neighbour concerns, inappropriate development in the Greenbelt. Little has changed from previous application 2021, and that we're keeping with the surrounds.
Number 3 then, Cinder Hills Road. Okay. This is plan notice for agricultural.
Couldn't see a problem with it.
I'm not speaking because I declared an interest.
I couldn't either.
I couldn't see a problem with it. It's
I have something to say. I had a note from Kirklees this morning to say we didn't need to discuss this because they had sent
You
it
have
to
a
us
note
in
to say
error.
what?
Say that we didn't need to discuss this evening after all because they've sent it to us in error. It's not an application, it's a prior notification.
All right.
It happens whether we comment on
So,
it or not.
move on.
Right.
Noted.
And be a few more of them.
We'll just move. Number 4, Fieldhead Lane in Home.
yeah.
This one actually obviously isn't in the,
Sorry?
this one isn't in the big parts, is it?
No, it's not. It seemed uncomplicated to me. It's a relatively modest proposal. I support it.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 5. On the Bank End Road. Demolition of conservatory, an extension and a carriage and whatever, and it's in a conservation area again. I'm just kicking this one off.
It's, I would assume, I was kind of equivalent. It seemed to me to be a fairly large extension. There would be improved parking on the same footprint overall, which I thought was good. I would apply to support it.
I think we should, as a rule of thumb, look to support things, not look to turn them down, if we're not sure.
It's a pretty complex set of changes, I thought, and including a garage, which is actually somewhere away from the house, and then the kind of cantilever kind of parking thing as well. And I thought the extension was pretty large in relation to the size of the existing dwelling. I didn't like the window. I went yeah. I thought the window on the extension didn't fit with those on the existing dwelling. So I mean, I kept having a look at it and unable to come to really a decision. So I was going to suggest we defer to.
I thought there were pros and cons. I mean,
Yeah.
clearly getting cars off the road there is
Yeah.
visibility in it. It's really difficult anyway. All the materials are using are sensible, the match. The only thing is, as you mentioned, I thought the windows were out of character. But again, it's the conservation officer that makes the final decision anyway, won't it?
Well, you could say that we're in favour of the application, but could they have a look at the subject to conservation officer, checking the windows and the
Yeah.
bits, some of the features maybe.
Generally, I think I wish to support it. Just like the
I think the improvement to the parking, or is getting vehicles off the road is a positive.
Absolutely.
We could
Especially
say
there.
that, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Well,
So, approve of the parking, but defer to the officer on design.
I think it's a window, particularly.
That's not sort of big plate glass window as well.
that's how it is.
I could have thought if I'd been,
They go right round the corner.
yeah, I mean, if I'd been planning officer, I could make out an argument both for and against and defend both at committee. Yeah, excuse me.
In which case, I think we should support it.
Yes.
I think we can support, but still make the comment
Yeah.
about the windows and then.
There isn't any overlooking on the properties below, is there, or anything like that?
No.
It's the detail of design, I think, that's the problem, or the potential problem.
Are we okay on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 6 then, Agro Lane in Brockles, certificate of lawfulness.
I had a look at this one because it's my area. It's just a small extension at the back. There really isn't any problem with it, I don't think. So, propose that we approve.
I thought the same.
I mean, it's a certificate of lawfulness anyway. So.
Yeah, the point it's quite small, so the point didn't think that they had to do it, or they might have been told they had to do it, and someone stopped doing it. So yeah, I think it's okay. There's no complaints or anything like that.
Okay, support that one?
Yeah.
Number 7, 9 Maybury Lane, discharge of conditions 9 and 10.
Yeah, I had a look at this one, it's a strange old site.
Yeah.
The environmental officer, I'm trying to find his report, I've got it here somewhere, recommends that condition 9 is discharged, but condition 10 is not.
I thought it was quite a complex sort of thing, and I read leave it to the officers. Which is what we tend to do anyway, isn't it?
It's tends to do with the discharge of conditions, usually too technical for us to cope with.
Are we happy to do it?
It's not changes. They're just checking after they've done what they're supposed to do. So yeah, it's very strict with officers.
Okay. Number 8 we've done. Number 9, 96 Penniston Road, change of use, highway to garden, another one. Funny one, this one.
Number 9, it's as far as I got before my internet went down. So I haven't looked at this, so I'm willing to hear what anybody else suggests.
Well,
I'll put look now whilst you discuss
I
it.
did look through this. They have a pre-app advice. But we didn't make it clear what that advice was, so I'm not sure.
I mean, the main problem is they don't own the land.
Correct.
And they're not the nearest house to the piece of land. 96 is closer, sorry, 94 is closer to the piece of land than 96. And I think we're tidying the land up, that's the bonus. But it's the contention as to actually who owns it.
Well, there is a comment in there from one of the neighbours about they tried to purchase this, but Kirklees refused. But now they're saying it's unregistered, so I'm not quite sure where that is.
You don't need to own the land to put planning permission
No.
or something. I could put planning permission for an extension in your house or something on that, or what to do. So there's no stopping somebody doing that.
No, but if they
But it's a
then
bit
took
weird.
it over, they're liable to be challenged, aren't they?
Well, that's their own problems and it could fall into legal areas, couldn't it, I suppose, so that's, but we have to just look at the plans and think, are they okay? And it's,
I thought just on planning grounds, forgetting about the ownership, I think it seems sensible.
Yes, I mean,
Sensible,
there's
sensible
no
thing
real
to do,
problem
really, it's no
with the
problem
use.
with planning. Yeah.
I mean, they're not building on it anyway, it's just garden, isn't it?
I mean, they seem to be losing, at the moment they've got their two bins in a little sort of set back part of it, and that doesn't seem to be incorporated into the plan, but,
What about if we support but just make a comment about subject to ownership?
you might have neighbourly wars going on.
Nobody actually owns it, and somebody develops it in a way that others disagree with, then they could just put it back to how it was, couldn't they,
I
presumably?
mean, I was always told someone owns all land.
Yeah.
Or the Queen, or the King.
It's just finding out who at times, isn't it?
You missed the earlier conversation.
is this Kirklees as well? Is it,
I really don't know.
Say no business.
They seem to be saying no. But as, you know, that's, as you say, it's got nothing to do with planning, does it?
No, it's tidying up the pieces.
So, support, but just make a comment about ownership of the land. Are we okay with that? Thank you. Number 10, Upper Bank End Road. Single story side and rear extension. This is what I was talking to Jeremy about it earlier. There was some mixed feelings about it. Sorry.
I thought that's a bit supportive with some caveats really. It's quite a small house, isn't it? And the extension is pretty huge. And they have less space for access. The extension is stepped back from the front, but then the area over is overlooking. Thought the parking was adequate, so I've been trying to support it.
I mean, it is small, it's a two down, isn't it, with one bed. There are 2 spaces for parking at the moment, I think. It will go to just, and only just one. Whether that's sufficient for a house of that size, I don't know.
Maybe that's a caveat then. Support it, but there's issue about.
When you look at the plan, they've drawn a car on it, it's slightly skewed.
It's a bit sideways, isn't it?
Drawn one of those L-shaped cars.
And in a way, part of me thinks, you know, this is a one bed, so to start a home. And here we are, making it into probably a 2 bed.
That's not a planning reason though.
No, I agree. Totally.
Half the things we see are turning affordable homes into unaffordable.
Exactly. Yeah. But it is an ideal one, isn't it, you know, a 1 bedroom starter with some parking. It's a narrow road, isn't it, as well, it's not good for parking on there. So it'd be a shame to lose it. But yeah, we could make that.
I don't think there was really reason to refuse it.
No.
It's an assumption that we support, but yeah, the raise the issue about
Provided
parking.
it's sufficient parking.
Reservations about.
did look in the SPD about parking. It only says for, how does it put it, 2 and 3 bedroom houses, there should be 2 places, I think. It doesn't mention 1 bed. So,
Maybe one beds don't have to.
maybe not. And again, it's only guidance, so we can please stand, potentially do what we want, can't we, with that? So, support subject to
Yeah.
sufficient parking. Okay. Number 11, Bins Lane, outline plan regulation for 1 dwelling.
I thought this, I've got to put question mark on this because they're planning tarmac, so I would like us to ask for porous hard standing.
Yes.
And I think they should consider the neighbour's suggestion about marrying 2 accesses together, which would make everybody happy.
Yes.
Well, not happy, but happier.
It'd be a much more sensible entrance, to me, anyway.
Joe, I also had some concerns about what I thought was a pretty light way of addressing climate change issues. This is a new development, and an old tennis court. There's no reason why they couldn't install a ground source heat pump, let alone air source heat pumps. And there's no mention about solar panels or anything like that. I thought it was very light on addressing those issues.
Sadly, they don't have to for 2025.
It doesn't mean they shouldn't.
No, no.
Well, we can.
Yeah.
We can.
Well, I mean, we've raised these issues in relation to other developments, and, you know, why at this point fit a new gas boiler, or it's simply suggesting. I think it could be a lot stronger in terms of this, and by the time it happens,
It will be 2025.
yeah.
Yes, it will. Yeah.
I think we should flag it up,
Yes.
irrespective of whether we ignore it or
Yeah.
not.
It's
Yes,
not.
this particular site offers many green opportunities. It's a pity the
builder
people aren't
obviously.
taking advantage of it.
I mean, it's pretty all lovely kind of building, I thought, but I couldn't really see reasons that we shouldn't support it, but.
I did wonder whether there was really enough parking for 3 cars, for the sake of this.
I think the access is an issue, I think that
Yeah.
is something that should be addressed.
Yeah, I think the neighbour's suggestion sounded very sensible
Yeah,
to
we'll
me.
flag that up, can't we?
Yeah.
That one would flag the lack of attention to climate emergency.
So support the comment on climate change statement.
Porous hard standing.
Yes, and access has been suggested by one of the
Words
neighbours.
only flat roofs, won't they?
No.
Just looking for that. Just checking.
All okay with that?
Mm.
Number 12. 25 Weavers Mill Way, so extension.
Not an issue.
Support. Number 13, 46 Little Bank Road. Again,
Pretty minor thing.
yeah, no support, yeah. Number 14, 3 Stubbing Fall, a single story front porch extension.
This actually I thought was a sensible proposal. I like the notion that it was something the original architect should have looked at. It would improve the aesthetics of the place. I know that's not our business, but I don't see any reason to object to it.
I had an unequivocal support.
Okay, support. 15 Holmfirth Market.
Support.
Support, yes.
Improvement.
Number 16, Four Marsh Gardens. Change of
I
use
have
to storage.
support. It is a retrospective one, but it's already there. It's, you know, it doesn't make any difference to anybody really.
There was only
I've
one,
had some
sorry,
notes, this is the one I've had notes through from both Councillor Morgan and Councillor Bellamy.
Same.
I've had notes through about this one from both Councillor Morgan and Councillor Bellamy.
And are they happy about it?
So Councillor Morgan writes, it's a shame there's no longer a cake manufacturing business in Hamley. Is the increase in traffic going to be a consideration? And Councillor Bellamy writes, please note that the red line boundary is wrong on this application. It includes a bungalow that is not part of the site, and there are many issues with wagons on Marsh Gardens, driving on the footpath and not being able to turn around.
They're already there. The extra traffic has been happening for a couple of years. Nothing is going to change.
So those comments.
Now, they should have applied, but they didn't realise they needed to, or they said they didn't realise.
If we believe what they say there's 2 to 3 lorries a week.
I think that's true. They use it for storage. It's not a factory anymore.
And
It
then
used to be a factory.
5 to 6 courier vans a day going out, but they're in vans. So.
I think that it's nothing compared. They're right next door to more houses that have gigantic wagons going in and out all the time. These people.
I think Councillor Bellamy's point was that the red area includes, what she says includes a bungalow. I didn't think it did. But
I thought there was something pretty odd about the plans, really. I mean, I wasn't exactly sure where it was, because there was one of them was labelled Bottom Works, the location plan, and I'm not quite sure exactly where this is.
It's right next to, if you are, if you've got you back to the new houses, the 4 townhouses, and you're looking at the doctor's car park and you're looking at more houses, it still says proper made on the wall. It's immediately next to and before you get to the next road.
Yeah, the plans were a bit of a mess, I thought, but I think we should support it.
I mean, what's the alternative? We're going to stop them, take them out of business.
Yes.
And create an empty factory and put them out of business, yeah.
I mean, we could comment on the red line thing and see whether that.
If
That's just a technical.
Councillor Bellamy is right to me.
It's only technicality, surely, on the planning application, isn't it? That I don't think anybody's trying to take over a bungalow.
Is there somebody particularly nasty lives round there that lives in that bungalow? This is all part of an evil plot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 17, Whitewell's Gardens. These are extensions, relocating the garage, etc. This could have been Joe and Kath that we were here. Have a look at it. I mean, the materials on that's there. Really think there are any issues with it. It is quite a sizable property and extension and what have you. But
I don't know, I thought it was okay. Not that I'm enthusiastic, but I know we should support it.
Yeah.
Can't see a reason for not.
I mean, it's a big house at the end of it, isn't it? You say 4 beds, a library.
Yes.
But yeah, support. Okay. Number 18, Spring Lane, New Mill, change of use, and a car park at a wedding venue.
Which number are you looking at?
Number 18. I've just been having a look whilst we've been working the other ones, because I couldn't see this one earlier due to my internet, but I know where it is and I'm aware of this old building, because I must have driven past it thousands of times over the years and walked past it in various things. And it's a nice big building, and well, I just assumed that like it was always being used as a house, I suppose, but they want to kind of use it as a venue, and it'd be the kind of perfect kind of place for to have a wedding. It's a big old building, really nice grounds and everything like that around it. They're planning on doing it, like changing a few bits, putting some car parking in, changing the whole building at the moment, making it to a reception area and a few other things like that. I think there could be issues with highways, because I know people on Spring Lane have complained before about too many cars going too fast on Spring Lane. but normally that's because cars use it as a bit of a rat run. So if you're coming down towards New Mill and you want to go towards Hepworth, or if you want to go even towards Wardale sometimes, to go or fire on too fast on there towards the industrial lane, and then sometimes they turn right there, just to kind of rat run to go through the middle of New Mill. And we've had people coming and complaining about stuff like that before. And the road is quite narrow. It's very narrow once you get round the corner towards this property, and it is difficult for two cars to get through at some points. So that there are highways issues with this, but at the same time, you don't have weddings on every day. You're gonna have weddings on maybe, you're gonna have weekends in the summer and stuff like that. And I think it would be good for business in the area if you have a wedding venue and stuff like that.
People stay over.
They'll employ staff locally. They will buy locally for the produce and various things like that. And like I say, like if you have a wedding on, people will be staying at other places nearby and other things like that. So it'd be good for like other local hotels and like B&Bs and things like that. So there are a lot of positives to this, and well, I mean, I think highways is probably the only thing I would say is against it.
Well, I think we've got to be careful here, because you can't say we will never allow anybody to develop their building because people drive badly on that road. I mean, what you have to do is put right the bad driving.
There is a really difficult corner. If you're coming from, it depends which entrance they're using. If you use both entrances, so if you can go in from the entrance just off coming down the hill into New Mill, if you go straight left there, you avoid the bad corner. And if you use the other entrance and people coming from the other side, they'll go from the other side as well, and it'll avoid the bad corner. But I don't know how they're going to do it. Because that corner is bad, and there's been accidents there before.
You can't say forever, well, nobody can ever develop a business because of the traffic, a traffic problem due to abuse as opposed to design.
But no doubt, when it's busy, it's going to be busy. There's going to be a lot of cars in a short space of time.
That's really my main concern. The property's going to have 11 bedrooms, but they're only providing 34 car parking spaces, so that leaves 23 spaces for wedding guests. There's no spaces for the service industry, so they're going to service the weddings. Where are all these wedding guests?
And yet they're saying they've got more space for parking, so
along the drive that
Does it mention how many people, well, they haven't got a license yet, or a license for weddings, have they? That is something they have to do separate, because they don't have to kind of limit the numbers within reason, wouldn't they, based on the parking spaces? Like, if they're planning on having a big venue there where you can have 200 guests, 34 parking spaces is not going to be enough, is it?
Well, no.
But that's something, is that in there? I'm just having a look
And
now.
I thought the numbers didn't quite match up with the car parking.
No.
they argued that people were coming family groups and groups of friends, didn't they? Which is how they argued down the number.
Yeah.
But it is true, I mean, you don't have every single guest going in a separate car to a wedding.
And I've been to weddings before where there's been like nice big houses like this where there's no parking, and a lot of people just have to get taxis to them.
Yeah. I mean, most churches haven't got enough parking for weddings, for heaven's sake. But we don't make a fuss about that.
Some people do, especially in New Mill. They do in New Mill.
And register officers usually have no parking for weddings.
I do think that the pros do outweigh the cons in the business element of it all.
Yeah.
But there will be some local residents there who will be very unhappy about this. But it depends how often they're doing these weddings. If you're doing them every weekend, then it could be quite annoying if you're living nearby it, especially you get the noise element as well with it. I suppose it's not, houses aren't that close to everything, so you might not get that much noise going through. You know what I mean? Weddings
You're
can be
expecting Wayne Rooney sorts of wedding.
We're not Wayne Rooney, but
We can only hope.
he's already married.
Let's say helipad.
Sorry?
It's a helipad.
Yeah.
Actually, you talk about that, but the people who at the moment, they use a helicopter because they've got a house up in the Lake District, and every at weekends, like normally on Thursday or Friday, you see a helicopter coming over and dropping off there, and that's when they do fly back there. So,
I'm against
in
it.
this-
I only joke, but
I'm now against it.
In their,
On condition that they
No,
don't
no.
use no helicopters.
in their statement,
It's a green thing. It's not bad. What's it?
It's a lot greener to bring in 6 people by helicopter and not park.
sorry.
They should put them down on those roads.
in their statement, they do say guest numbers for an evening celebration would be in the range of 100 to 150.
That's a lot.
And it is envisaged that the average will be to the lower end of the range.
So that would be 50 cars max, I would say.
So they're going to be, but then you've got to put in the cars,
The
for the
trade.
people, the trades staff and the service staff, so they're
It
going to
seems a
be
bit
short.
light on parking.
I think there are about 30 spaces.
We all started in favour of this and we've talked ourselves out because the two neighbours don't want to be to trouble.
The one thing I mentioned is
I'm in favour of it, I just think they're short on parking, that was the only comment I had to make on this one.
I'm not against it. I just have reservations, and I know that people will have issues with it. And there's a load of people who live local with issues with things, but I think these people have got quite good grounds because they bought their houses and they lived there for donkey's years, and then all of a sudden this wedding venue is getting plonked next to them. So it's not kind of, it wasn't part of the deal when they nearly bought their houses there.
I
And
think it's family owned those. I think it's on somewhere the family owned those.
yeah, some of them don't they? Yeah.
They could be unlucky, they could get a pot instead and then they'll be sorry.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
To come and live in the home first with all the new bars and things.
If you were looking for the venue for a wedding, then it's not far off idea.
It's well set back, it's isolated. I
Can
mean,
can we just say support for great issue?
Yeah.
I love saying this.
Are we all happy with that?
Let's have one other thing as well though, I've been invited to another wedding this year, which is at Bagden Hall, and it seems like most people from New Mill and in the surrounding area always go to weddings in Bagden Hall. That's about the 5th one of my mates who got married at Bagden Hall. If this was here, people would be able to do it much more locally, and there isn't this kind of venue really in the Home Valley, especially since Dirk Route has closed down. I suppose you get the Huntsman, but
So there won't be a helicopter.
There is the vineyard.
It's been the idea, but then the parking there's really bad as well. But they cope, don't they, with it, don't they? The highways are not bad there, so I suppose it's okay for the vineyard,
Right,
it's okay for this place.
Let's move on.
Very scarcity there.
Are we okay with that? Support that, mention
Needs
the
more parking.
In somewhere.
The last one, number 19, Woodnook Arena.
Support.
Support.
Unequivocally.
Just support.
Am I okay with that?
yeah.
This has been.
Thank you very much.
We're only 19.
What's next?
Offices decisions. 160.
160. Planning officers' decisions to note, list of decisions, everybody noting?
No, it's okay.
Chair, can I just raise one query? I'm not sure that we've discussed this before, but I wonder if we could ask Kirklees to give us brief reasons if we support and they refuse, or vice versa. It would actually help us to understand the dynamics of their decision making. Don't need a lengthy account, but it would be helpful to have a bit of feedback.
I'm just wondering what they'd say, they'd probably say, well, look at the decision notice.
Yes.
Sorry.
They'll just say, look at the decision notice.
That's what I tend to do, and as you've read there, I usually go and have a look at the decision notice and see what.
And I think quite often I've found that although they might say oppose and may grant it or vice versa, when you look at the conditions, the change of conditions, to maybe cover some of the issues we've raised. So I don't think it's clear cut as we've got it wrong
So possibly that first one that is marked red, where we oppose because we thought the plans were inadequate, they may come up with
yeah.
additional plans afterwards, and then that was granted.
See you later.
So it's always like,
I think that would be the answer we get.
Fine, thank you.
So we've noted those, yes. Item 61, neighbourhood planning and review of place council outcomes. This is the SIDS. I don't really want to spend a great deal of time on this. We need to say that Councillor Rocker and myself met Councillor Crook, to see if he's actually on order now, as of the end of December, I believe.
Ooh.
Due, did you say the end of February? If I'm right then.
Sounds reasonable, councillor.
And they're going to take into account our preferences where it goes, so we'll see what happens on that.
Can I lob a hand grenade into the middle of this? That, I was talking with Councillor Morgan today, and we were concerned about Kirklees' response to Holly High. And their intention to do nothing whilst developing all sorts of safety measures for June Lane, which doesn't need it, but that's a separate issue.
We've got this on the agenda further down.
Are we?
Yeah.
Why aren't we talking about it? Because what we were
I know you were going to
suggesting,
mention the SID.
Yes, just
Yeah.
the next item, we'll have.
it's about the sighting of SIDS that
Yes.
I want to talk.
Okay, I mean, we can cover it here. We have still 3 locations to identify, and I know before the Honley High School thing, I can't remember who, someone suggested, in Honley.
Well, what Alice and I were thinking was actually putting 2 at Honley, one up near the station and one near the school, hoping they'd be there for 3 to 4 months and perhaps establish a habit of slowing down, which is about the best we're going to be able to achieve. That was all I wanted to say really about this, and put both of them in that one spot. Now, I know previously I said they shouldn't all be in Honley, but it's youngsters' lives, isn't it?
I think initially we steered clear of Honley, didn't we, because this was Councillor Charles Greaves' patch, so to speak. He'd already purchased 2 cameras, I think, for the Home Valley North, and that if it was deemed that we needed them there, he would pick that up. But you know what, I'm not really get too excited about boundaries like that. If it's
No.
necessary
I
and
think
it's something
the
we can
need
fund,
to
we
do
should
something pretty quickly for Honley High and perhaps establish some better habits. Now, 3 months may not be long enough, and I may be being way too optimistic here, but it's got to be worth a try, I would have thought. And have one on the bend near the station where they come over, and one near where people are just stopping and opening doors, and then other people are going fast round them, and you know, it's a bit manic during.
Would you mind if we pick it up again in the
Yeah.
high school discussions? I think there's a bit of a broader issue there as well.
I mean, so far we've agreed to purchase 1 SID, haven't we, really, and we've not talked about 2 SIDs, but
Yes.
maybe that possibly we need, we should make a decision about.
Well, we've budgeted for it for this
Yeah,
this
we
year, for the
budgeted
second
for
one.
it for this year, for this
Yeah.
second one, yeah.
I mean, my initial thoughts were, well, I was hoping that this one would have been in place and we'd been seeing results, and then we would have said, we're really pleased, we'll now purchase the second. Because we don't need to do that, we can move straight to purchasing the second. But I think we need to identify the locations for it, and as I say, of the one that we haven't yet got, with 3 locations to identify. So if we get another one, that'll be another 8. So we have to be sure we've got 11 locations for this additional one.
I don't think there's any doubt that there's 11 locations. We can spread them around.
It's a bit more difficult than you think when you get down to the nitty gritty.
And
We have
metal
to be on
lampposts and
the metal lamppost, straight section of road. But yeah, I would tend to agree. I think there are enough places that require it.
I mean, it was pretty clear in that meeting with Councillor Crook that our, would go into the programme developed by Kirklees Council officers. But obviously we're thinking about very often about the same locations anyway. It's not going to happen any much different, are they?
The only thing I was unclear about with Councillor Crook was, I don't know whether he was suggesting that this programme starts every 2 years and you can't get into it until it's starts a new 2-year cycle, which seems a bit odd.
It is coming to an end though, isn't it?
It
It's
is,
coming to an end, so now is the time to suggest you.
but if we missed that,
Yeah.
does that mean if
Well,
we got a
wait,
council
2
with
years.
2 years to do it? I don't know, it's a little bit unclear there.
Because it doesn't take account of developments coming on track and things like that.
Mm.
Um,
I may have misread that, and I don't take that as a fact. Are we suggesting then that we move now to purchasing a second?
I think I was suggesting that, yeah.
I was going to say, we haven't had one yet, so we don't know really how well it's going to work out and what it's going to do. I'm a tester as a job, right? And when we test a product and put it out there, you do a bit of a pilot first and see how it goes first before you do something else. Before you roll, we'll do a pilot across about 20-30 branches that we have, and then do a bigger rollout across the whole of the company with the software. So I'm saying maybe we shouldn't quite jump the gun yet, see how it works out first of all, and then think about going afterwards rather than saying spending 5 branches straight away.
They are well established across the
It's pretty well established though, they're not.
They're not an unknown quantity.
Yeah,
are
I
they?
know,
We have
like,
data from
we
the
haven't
ones,
done them
so-
before, and we've got a few places where to put them, and there's only 5 places mentioned there. Okay, Pat's mentioned a couple more, haven't we?
There's been another mention of one in New Mill as well.
Yeah,
You know, like Cafe Root is or something like that.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people do go too fast there because they're coming out of the national speed limit road to 30.
So I think as Pat says, there wouldn't be any shortage if we put the lines to it, but, and I guess that's something we would need to do collectively, just to.
And given how long it takes to actually get these things ordered, if we start the process.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe how big slow it's been to get this one.
If it's in budget then, and at the start of this new 2-year cycle to get them in position, I suppose it kind of does make sense.
It also puts a bit of pressure on Kirklees to bend to our will.
Don't know about that one.
That's a bit fancy.
Kirklees move them around, don't they? So
I like it. It's
Optimistic.
it will be Kirklees offices who move them around, won't they? So
Yes.
would that be an extra annual cost for us as well with that, wouldn't it?
Yes, but
So we need to be
it
aware
is
of that.
relatively small.
It's a small sum.
Okay.
I mean,
It will be over.
taking it back to first principles, I mean, it was seen as a positive thing we could do for highways and the sort of complaints that we get. And I still think that's the case. So, the proposal is then that we purchase a second. Mayor proposing that? Second by? All okay with that?
It's not as if they're sitting on a shelf at Costco waiting to be taken.
No, there are 10-week delivery when you get the order going, so. I mean, could I ask then that we all collectively put our minds around potential sites for these, and ideally, you know, we'd have 20 identified and we can pick and choose then, can't we? Okay. Item 2-year traffic calming. This is the kiddie cutouts, I'm trying to think what they call them, for outside schools. This is one that Councillor Greaves brought to us many months ago. We have now got the first batch on order for Upperthorne School. They're going to run a trial with them and they'll give us some feedback as to how beneficial or otherwise they are. We may have a second lot from Councillor Fenwick, but I'm not just sure whether we are with him. I've not seen him
managed
speak.
to catch it,
No.
unfortunately.
And they were intended
He's
for
lobbying at the moment.
they were intended for Brockholes, that second batch. So, I mean, we can just go with these first ones and see what the feedback is and whether we think they're worth rolling out to the schools. So no correspondence regarding Honley High School. I'm to consider any further action. What's people's thoughts on that correspondence.
I use this road regularly when I drive into work. I go through, go past the high school, the Castle Hill into Huddersfield rather than go to the main roads because it's quicker going that way. But when I go normally it's about 8 o'clock, you see a few school kids around, you don't see people dropping off kids. So I don't see all the chaos, and I don't see all the chaos of when they're picking up kids and all that kind of thing. But the speed bumps seem to do quite a good job of slowing people down. Well, that's what I see and how I drive anyway, because if you drive too fast, you're going to mess up your car, aren't you? But obviously, you're going to get some idiots who drive too fast and cause problems, and you do sometimes see the kids laking around and messing about and going into the road and stuff like that, but kids do things like that, don't they? It's mentioned about the expense of a pelican crossing. Rather than going for a pelican crossing, could we get a zebra crossing further up there? That just seems like, where the speed bumps are, I've always thought it makes sense to actually have a zebra crossing on speed bumps, and that's what a lot of these things do. And if you have to have something like that, I think the zebra crossings, the speed bumps are already there, so all you need to pay for is some white paint surely to get some zebra crossings across. Stephen will tell me something different about this from a planning background, but it doesn't seem to be that difficult. I think that they should be able to do something like that. I think a zebra crossing maybe is a reasonable compromise.
I mean, if we just rewind a little bit, I thought Hunley High School did a really good presentation. You were there, weren't you? I was quite impressed that.
And they're going to keep numbers, because they reckon somebody gets banged on the elbow or the knee or something 2 or 3 times a week, every week. Somebody from the school.
So, I thought the response from Kurt Leeds was poor, even if it was correct.
Yes.
I thought it was a little insensitive to say, we haven't got any money and you have not had enough accidents, go away. I mean, we have invited them to come and talk to us here at planning, and I'm not just sure where we are with that now, because they've had that response, and maybe they just said, it's a waste of time, I don't know. I would still like to see them, yeah.
The other thing I was going to mention as well, when Councillor Corner was talking about the SIDS, what I generally see there is people driving within the speed limit there. So for me, the issue isn't about putting SIDS there to make people slow down, because I think with the speed bumps and stuff like that, people generally are driving within the speed limit. The issue for me would be reducing the speed limit. So this would be the perfect place to have a 20 mile an hour zone. You probably have it as you get to where Safari's Hams is, I suppose. You get to there, put that down to 20 there, because you don't need it in that stretch of road in Broccoli or whatever they call it, between the two. But like once you get to Safari's Hams and where the gym is, put it down to 20 miles an hour there, and
it's got to go all the way
all surrounding
around
areas.
past the station, because they pour out the station.
Yeah, above the petrol station, as well, past the other petrol station as well, on the other side of the road.
Petrol station?
Well, the petrol station is, the traffic there. No, the petrol station is,
We're talking
20
about
mile
the
there.
road up past.
No, but I'm saying you should have it 20 going on the main road, going in.
Well, it is Kirklees, it's supposedly Kirklees policy to have 20 miles an hour outside all schools, and they haven't at Honley High. That's why I'm asking for the SID.
Yeah, I'd have it up past the train station and up past around that corner as well, because around that corner you get kids going in different parts there as well, so definitely.
But there are
and you can even argue,
crossings down there. We had a long discussion with the kids, and if they take shortcuts, they take risks, but they can safely cross those roads. There are crossings down at the bottom.
I would just sort of recommend just pausing a little while here. They've identified a problem, there's no doubt about that.
They're measuring that problem.
But I think they've gone straight from problem to solution.
Mm.
And it might be that a crossing is not really the answer when you do some analysis. If it turns out the accidents are nowhere near where they're talking about any crossing, then they gain nothing. And potentially you're spending an awful lot of money to do that. And I think they really need to focus on what are the actual problems, and then throw up some potential solutions. Some of them will be probably quite cheap, maybe free even. It depends what it is. It might be behavioural issues rather than something that you can solve by mechanical means.
I mean, if there is a problem with children crossing from the school onto the Navy playing field side of the road,
Yeah, there is.
lollipop lady.
Yeah, but it won't fund it.
No, but couldn't a member of staff on a rota? If
They're
it's
not,
for-
they're not insured, you can't.
But they have to ensure that the children cross from one side of the road when they're going to play sports.
Yeah, but they're not insured.
Again, I think we're in danger of solving the problem, we don't really know what it is yet.
But I think Tom's right, I think the zebra crossing, you can't have one up near the station because it isn't a clear run, but in the middle there. But I don't see Kirklees doing it.
I think below the school entrances, below the entrance to the school on the bottom, where you can go around, there's a speed bump there. You do it perfectly over there. You do it further up, like where the train station is. I mean, you get
You
too
can't
close to the
because you've got to
corner.
have a clear sight to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
zebra.
I don't like them.
It's on the sharp bend.
The ones near corners are on bends are not good, but if you have it lower down, the kids can walk down from the train station and go across from further down. And I think that'd be a reasonable compromise.
I thought Charles had suggested that wasn't sort of policy to have zebras now.
Well, Charles can
But
suggest
that
all
might
he
be his,
likes.
that might be his opinion rather than anything. But you do move to a fairly cheap solution to a very expensive one, don't you?
I think we're getting zebra crossings in the home first plan, aren't we? The moving where one of them is the one across from Keys, but there's still going to be zebra crossings. There's going to be a pelican at the top of the road, but I think there's going to be a zebra crossing at the bottom by where the old bridge is. So I think if they're willing to do it there, the zebra crossing still, then they should be willing to
And
do
I think
it.
we should be pushing for 20-mile-an-hour limits
Yes.
all the way right round the bend.
And again, it's a cheap solution, really.
Yeah.
My own feelings at the moment are, I'm quite nervous that Hornby High School have now said, no, there's nothing in that, we'll forget about it, which would be a great shame to me. So I'd like to make contact with them again and say, look, we'd still
When
like
are they
to.
coming to talk to us? We invited them to come
We
and talk
invited
to
them,
us.
we've not heard anything.
We've not heard anything back from them, no.
But they've had this email
Yeah.
saying it's too expensive and go away, so.
Yeah, maybe we should write to them and say, this is don't be too distressed by this letter, we haven't given up on you. Or
That's my
words to that effect.
Yes, that's my feeling.
Chair, could we seek some clarification from Kirklees about the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit outside schools? Because this is an issue I raised some time ago with Paul Davis about the lack of a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit outside Hinchcliffe Mill Junior and Infant School. It's a narrow road, there are no pavements, and his response was, unless there are accidents, and accident data, then it won't happen. But Don Lane is a more obvious case for having a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit than many others. It's a rural school route, there are no pavements, it's congested, and it's very frustrating, I think, for people locally, the fact that there is traffic moves so quickly.
It is, I guess, a couple of years ago now, isn't it, when we had Liz Kuzak, the Kirklees have done a survey, a complete survey of all speed limits in Kirklees, and surprisingly found that they were all appropriate. But they did go on to say that the intention was to introduce 20-mile-an-hour zones at schools. It's a matter of timing and finances, so I think at the time they talked about 4 years before they'd be able to start. And that's probably
18
18
months
months.
or so ago, yeah.
Well, that probably means for another 2 years then.
I mean, if that is if we think collectively that that is an appropriate sort of solution to the problem, then I think we should flag it up and say.
It's probably most schools about the 20-mile-an-hour limit, and it's an easy one to.
Well, it's easy there.
Well, it's
because
not easy
the
to
speed
enforce.
bumps are there
Yeah,
already, aren't
yeah.
they? The traffic calming is already there.
And the only downside is that the police won't enforce it unless the average speed is already less than 25. You know, they won't enforce it if the speed is high already. They'll only enforce it where it's already quite low.
In fact, we kind of adopted a policy when we did lots of work on road safety some time ago. In fact, this was our policy is at 20 miles an hour. Well, actually through all villages, I think, as well as schools.
Certainly
We had
not
some
schools.
correspondence with our MP as well, who's going to come and talk to us about it, but I guess that's, I don't know why.
He's quite keen on it, I think. I mean,
He is
seen him
quite
doing things
keen on
about
it,
yeah.
right, that's, yes.
So the outcome of that, I think, is in touch with Homley High School again. Let's get a range of potential solutions and move from there. I think there's a few that sort of quite like it there, aren't they? Zebra crossing, SID, 20 mile an hour. But
I mean, the SID is, for me, isn't the ideal solution, but it's better than nothing at all.
yes, yeah. And it is pretty much in our control as well.
Yeah, we've got more chance of
Yeah.
influencing it than we have.
Is that okay with everyone?
We want to see if I can get some clarification on 20 mile an hour policies.
Good luck with that, but yeah.
You might have the apprentice clerk responding to you as Charles, it was the apprentice replied. Yeah.
They did give us a presentation, didn't they? I might be able to find that. On the results of the survey.
It was very
I mean,
disappointing.
we had a lengthy presentation on why it wasn't possible to do anything at all, I recall.
Somewhat depressing.
But like I remember, we gave good grounds as to why they should think about doing it. And we weren't just saying 20 mile an hour everywhere. I don't think we were being excessive, were we? We were thinking it's in schools and built up areas like in more villages. And I don't think it'd be that difficult to implement, but it must be.
Okay, moving on. Streamlining responses to planning applications. We'll have to just spend a few minutes on this if we can, because I think we can make our lives a lot easier. Has everyone had a chance to have a look at it?
Yep.
My suggestion there. Thoughts?
I mean, part of the trouble is that this is a public open meeting, and yeah, and people can turn up without saying that they're called in advance and talk about a planning application. And if they're going to come to a planning application, none of us have looked at it. It's going to be extremely awkward and difficult, isn't it? I mean, I really feel they do spend too much time on these, but trying to work out a proposal somebody's actually going to work is quite difficult. And I guess there's no way we can require members of the public to tell us in advance that they're coming. We can just turn up.
They do normally tell us, but we have had occasions where we didn't know who's all coming or which one they were speaking about or anything like that, so it does happen, yeah.
Yeah, tonight's a prime example, right? Tonight, then the two people going to speak, they would have fit within the criteria because there's comments on the application. But say if that application had only gone in like about a week ago and then put the comments on, yeah, and then we would have given a comment about it. And,
well, I mean, in that case, Ken had approached me anyway, and I don't really approach anybody else.
but they don't.
So I knew he was coming.
Yeah, I think I just think there will be examples of this and things where we wouldn't look at them, and I don't think Andy does a good job as being chair. It keeps it under 2 hours. I think that's reasonable for a meeting. It's not too bad. And generally, there is things on the agenda at the end, which, like, if we had to do, we could maybe delegate till the next meeting or leave till later. So it's not a perfect system, but what I'm saying is I don't think it ever will be. And I think I'd rather go through everything rather than miss things out and like be negligent.
I mean, I think Andy's, what Andy's doing now, flagging up the what possibly more contentious, difficult, whatever, ones asking us to look out of them is really good. I don't know who looks at all of the apps. I do try and I do attempt to look at all of them. But I just wonder if we could perhaps tweak this notification to individual members of the planning committee a little bit, see if we can, achieve some expediting in that way.
My other thought, Chair, was that actually, I mean, I think the detail, the criteria are not unproblematic. We suggestions in paragraph 2 about the role of the planning committee, I thought that notion of there being a wider role than just commenting on planning applications was a useful one, and I would certainly support that. We've talked before about, for example, being involved in pre-planning discussions that the planning officers have, and I think that the thrust from central government about involvement of local communities suggests that really the planning committee should, if it can be, more active in relation to these kind of more open discussions. And I mean, hence my comment this evening about the Dan Head proposal. Local highways are actually an important part of these kind of deliberations. I think we should be able and willing to look at those.
I mean, I think de facto that's what's happened really, because you know, in the last 5 years whilst I've been on the council, I mean, when I first came on the planning committee, practically the whole of the meeting was looking at the planning applications. We weren't actually looking at much else. We have, you know, particularly when we were discussing the neighbourhood development plan. Obviously that's come and gone, but we do look at a great many other issues, and sometimes they inevitably shoved to the bottom of the agenda, so we don't have enough time to look at them.
I feel that is the case, that we probably don't spend as much time as I'd like on some of the other issues, because we've got 20 odd applications to wade through. And the reality, I mean, tonight, we could have just looked at 6.
Yeah,
Could I ask, Joe, you suggested one of the criteria should be looking at all applications in conservation areas.
The question is, I wondered about just saying if it's in a conservation area, we just don't comment.
Well, that's what I was going to suggest, given the conversation we've had tonight.
conservation area, listed building, certificate of lawfulness, all those things, we could just automatically say refer to officer, refer to officer, refer to
So I
officer.
do think that we do that quite quick with a lot of the applications, wherever, like some of them tonight, boom, okay, but then the others, we did a big long discussions about them, so I think, I don't think it really changed that much with the other ones if we just get through them quickly. Sorry, Mike.
No, I was going to say yes, what Pat said, the ones that were highlighted red in the notes from last time, it was a conservation area, another, wasn't it, where the officers had differed and we'd spent time discussing it, and then they just went, well, it's a conservation area, we can't do it. But in fact, the suggested criteria, it's useful to have them in front of us to bear in mind when we're discussing things, saying, let's not spend any more time discussing that.
Yeah.
It doesn't fit those
It's
criteria.
a guideline for discussion, even if we don't remove them from the agenda,
When I first joined the planning committee, back in the day when I first joined, we had planning applications on the physical applications. You could see them, copies, you could see them before the meeting and that. And but what generally would happen is, like, they go to the ward council, and then the ward council would say nay, refuse, or oppose. And there wasn't really much discussion about it because most of the other councils hadn't looked at them. So now, like, they're all on the internet and everyone's looking at them and everyone's got opinions. And that's good because we're having better discussions about things and people are looking at stuff rather than it's been one person. So in some of the aspects it does take longer because rather than me just saying, yeah, that's okay, we're not doing that now, and I think it's better for that reason.
I just wonder, and we do discuss various aspects about flat roofs and windows and
aluminium windows.
at the end of the day, have we actually brought anything to that application? Or our council is just going to say, well, you know, we're just going to do what we're going to do anyway. Have we actually added anything to it?
Well, they are now, they're not looking at all the applications, are they now? They are officially themselves saying we're only looking, you know, they're having fewer meetings and not involving councillors.
The only point I can see which is a little bit different for me is the public thing. We can't predict who's coming. I mean, in reality, have we ever anyone turn up that we didn't know?
Last time.
But would we have covered that application anyway? Which was that?
That was the one last time where it was in Honley.
It was a highways issue.
It was a highway issue. It was one was, it was a development that was sort of really towering over
Yeah.
everyone.
We
It's
could,
far
we
end.
could flag that up anyway, I think.
Well, it was far end lane or something in Holland.
I think that would always be a contentious one anyway, irrespective of whether people have turned up.
Yeah, I'd feel more like spending lots of time on it if we were assured that our comments were actually taken seriously by my police council planners, and I'm you know, I have heard stories that perhaps they're not.
Well,
And you know, if we're doing all this, and it is good that we have good discussions, I think. But I mean, my understanding is that our comments have no more weight than that of an individual resident.
Yeah, but we comment when there aren't any individual residents
Yes,
on
we
it
do.
commenting,
We do.
so.
We do.
I think it's also a case of the people who elect us are sort of saying, we expect you
Yes.
to keep an eagle eye on what's going on.
I think so. It's the thing that, gets people going more than anything else that we cover.
I would feel very uncomfortable about not looking at any, because when we looked at this a few years ago, I did look at the practice of other parish councils, and some of them just didn't look at them at all. Some of them just put routinely, you know, just one word, and some went to enormous lengths about. But if you have eight planning applications in a meeting, that's one thing, isn't it? If you've got 30 odd, then you just can't do that. But I would feel uncomfortable about not looking at them. It's just a matter of trying to.
But I think, as Adrian said, if we use this list as a sort of discipline for discussion, so that, especially when we have 30 odd, where we don't prolong the discussion, we say what we've got to say and we shut up.
It's down to us all. Maybe if we are messing around and like just talking like we're not supposed to be doing, Andy should maybe tell us to get a move on or something like that. Just remember the bad guy. But it's down to us as well then.
We need to get out the gavel.
It's down to us. We should be trying to make it easier for the chair. And I understand that having been the chairman before when you're trying to get through an agenda and everyone's trying to talk, it's a bit of a nightmare sometimes.
Can we formally comment to Councillor Lyles?
I wasn't naming any names. Sorry. But yeah, exactly. It can be a nightmare sometimes. You've got a big agenda, you've got all this stuff to get through, and you've got stuff later on that's going to be a lot of discussion on, which kind of should be moving on now. So it's down to us, but maybe the chair
You're
sometimes.
nice to us, Anne.
Yeah.
You are. No, you are.
Try to say sometimes it's me.
Seriously, you need to shut us up.
I can be a good cop, you can be a bad cop.
Might I speak?
No.
No, just a thought, it's almost like a retrograde step, but of the 19 that we looked at tonight, if you wanted to make an emphasis to look at these plans, are there one or two of them that you really feel strongly about? Because, you know, when we're sending a comment in on all 19, is it going to have more impact if you just pick out one or two and say, look, we're really taking a stand on this one. I say it's retrograde because it still involves you looking at all of them, but then there's a little bit more hierarchy.
Yes, maybe we should have fewer of those support with reservations and just kind of comment when we say against for the following reasons or just support.
What I've been trying to do for the last couple of meetings, I think, is as soon as Jim has got the list, you can change right up to the last minute anyway. Try and go through
bit by the Friday.
and it's fairly clear which ones are going to be the contentious ones anyway, and I can pick those out. I
But
mean,
you know, when
if you're happy for me to do that,
for instance, we all do this. We say things like, "I don't much care for the windows," but that's just a waste of time. That really, truly is a waste of time. It's not a planning issue. It's we all do it. But when there's 30 or 40, we should.
I go to great lengths to not give you my opinion, but I'm going to chip in because it sort of affects me a little bit.
it affects you a lot because
It does, yeah, and I the thing that I agree. I mean, you've used the word discipline, and I'm glad you've used it and not me. But that is the key. Is that the first one on the list is you have this sort of 10-minute discussion about windows, and then deferred. Which I think is probably you just need to be a little bit more focused on the ones that are problematic and that you do need to discuss. Possibly. That's it, that's all, that's the
Would
only
it be
opinion you
possible
get.
for you and the chair to maybe asterisk a few where you consider we should be discussing? I'm not saying you should say don't talk about this, but are there somewhere you maybe want to highlight and saying this, you know, the way you think
I
it?
thought this had happened, Jay, you sent out an email.
You sent an email.
Yeah.
highlighting
Yeah, I have,
that.
yeah, we have that, yeah.
And the residents, residents rider work.
I mean, I could take some of those in, and this time I put in the ones that were in conservation area. I'm tending to think I'd leave those out, and say, if
In a
in
way,
a conservation area,
Yeah.
let's just defer it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
In
the
which
one,
case, tonight would have been probably 4 or 5, something like that, that we'd need to look in
I
detail.
mean, there may be occasions with listed or conservation where we say, despite this seems a very good development and we would like to see ways of it becoming possible, or, you know, where it's a particular thing. But I can't think of an example, so don't ask me what do I mean, because I don't know.
So if I can try and summarise, I think what we're talking about is that I continue trying to pick out the ones that I think are contentious. It's got neighbour comments, green belt, that sort of thing. And those are the ones that we'll expect to discuss in a little bit of detail. All the others will give a fairly brief response to, and any that are conservation areas, then we'll just not consider anyway.
well, I mean, something like the one in Spelman Fold, really, we didn't need to, I mean, it was just a little porch on a modern house. And the fact that it was in a conservation area was by accident, in a sense.
Yeah.
You have to look though to
Yes.
see it. Don't you?
Yes, but I think for, if you
I'm
comment about
okay,
it,
I can do that.
Yeah.
I'll go along with Jim.
it's like what I had one today, there's an extension in Brockhall to the back of it, I said approve. No one else had any opposition to it, if you're not in, no opposition at all, we just vote, yeah.
Move on.
Yeah. Or
I
you can
think
say,
you have to be brutal with us, Andy.
oh, we should say something like, this is only a small change.
It does your taste.
Yes,
I mean, one of the situations that I do want to avoid is, and Mary will perhaps remember it, we had one where, and I'll not mention names, we looked at an application, it turned out there was only one person that actually looked at it, and we said we'd approve it. Now, in fact, that person actually hadn't seen it in the flesh, and then when we supported it, the neighbours came back and said, can you reconsider because of X, Y and Z? And I think when we looked at it then, we said, actually, we probably got this one wrong.
But I think
So that's a situation where no one's looked at it, we've just sort of flagged it through. We can't afford to do that. I mean, that's why I've tried to sort of say, at least 2 of us should be looking
Well, I
at
think
an application.
that's a good thing, that there's one ward councillor plus someone else going to look at every application.
It goes awry, doesn't it, when people, for whatever reason, don't wait a meeting.
Generally speaking, for you and Mary, between
I try and
probably cover them all anyway.
I mean, I'm quite disappointed that we keep getting very few comments from people who are not on the planning committee. There was a time when I was first chair of planning, I've had quite a long list of comments from other councillors.
And they only need to look at
They
the
only
ones
need
in
to
their
look
own
at the
area,
ones
they
in
don't
their
have to
own
look at
area.
them.
It stops after a while, doesn't it? You have to remind them again, and then you might get some, but
Maybe it's time to remind them.
We could do that.
we did look at one today, didn't we?
I
I
send
mean,
them out
all they need is the same list,
individually.
the same list as we've got. They don't really they can find their own, can't they?
I send them out.
I know you do. I'm not sure you should be wasting your time doing
It doesn't take very long. They cut the house lots of times, but it looks like that. They get, so they
Yeah,
generally there's only 1 or
so,
2
yeah.
to look at with
Also,
the link
so
on
they
it.
get, You send an email to each ward, for each one? Really?
So anyone who's not on the committee gets an email from me, these are in your ward
I
this
think
time.
you're spending too much time doing
Yeah.
that. I think they should get the full list and go through it. The names are in the box
Yeah.
on the end, the initials are there, they can look for themselves, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be.
I agree, but one email for everyone else, that's taking up too much of your time, Gemma.
No, yeah, you shouldn't be spoon feeding them like
No.
that.
They're all big
It takes
adults.
about 20 minutes.
No.
It is cut and paste, just.
Nevertheless, it's disappointing, right? That we
They
don't
still
get
don't
around
Well,
to
they're
it.
still not answering, so we
Yeah.
probably.
Should
We get problems, don't we?
And we
Council
can
items.
mention that at the next full council meeting, can't we?
Yeah.
Say to them
Yeah.
that, but we pick one.
Quite often, I do get, what you don't see is occasionally I do get back, so there's a couple of councillors that do respond nearly every time. I've had a look, I've got no problem with this.
Yeah.
So, you know, they are being looked at by some councillors.
And we had a couple tonight, the whole.
There were three this evening that I had comments on now, but I'd also had another 2 or 3 that had come back to say, no, that's fine, no comments.
I'll email all councillors, just to remind,
Yeah,
just to say.
And it is a problem
Cool.
when members of planning committee don't turn up for whatever reason or aren't able to turn up.
It may be that sometimes local plans and everything, they're not very, there's not much going on. So, but there's some obviously which are more contentious, which they might have opinions about, but.
There's not much we can do about that.
No.
Okay, I think that was worth, talking about, anyway.
Thank you for the work you've done.
Chair, could I just urge that we don't lose sight of your comments in the second paragraph? I do think that's important in terms of the role of the planning committee and how we pursue that agenda in terms of broader involvement with developers and so on and so forth. I think I don't know how we develop that into a strategy, but I think we should. It seems to me that would be a very valuable thing for the planning committee to do.
Yeah, I mean, when we go back to the sort of list of objectives, trying to chip away at those, but yes, there's some quite meaty ones there that we need to get into, and you know, it's 9:15 now, we clearly we haven't time to talk about
We
it.
can't do it tonight, but maybe we should bring that paragraph to the next meeting.
I mean, planning department could quite easily put parish council on the list of consultees for pre-application discussion. It's just another email with the attachment. It's not difficult.
I mean, that Gemma has written to them,
How else to
but when there's a response, so, which, well, who knows? You tend to think that if you haven't had a response, you know, you're very pleased when you do get it, but we'll see.
Do you want to resolve on a way forward for future meetings to create some guidance, to go into the minutes?
Well, it's essentially what you and I have been doing.
So continue as you are, but to use the suggested criteria to guide your discussions within the meeting as well.
Okay, thank you very much. That was very useful. Where have we got to?
162.
162, Pete, there's nothing on there, so. Okay. 163. Okay, the ongoing campaigns.
Has anything changed on any of them?
Nothing changed on Burnley, nothing changed on Carlsmoor Road, nothing changed in Netherthorne Centre, nothing on South Lane. Bit of an update on Ramsden Road and Chiefgate now. If I take Ramsden Road first, there's 2 things going on there. Firstly, people in Northern Footpaths have actually taken Kirklees to court over the maintenance of Ramsden Road. I didn't think they'd go that far, but they have done. I thought Kirklees would have caved in before they went to court, but they didn't. They went to court. The outcome of that was that Kirklees had to put forward a plan of repairs before March, or otherwise they would be in court again in August, and they've set a date for that. So this last week, I couldn't go unfortunately, but Pete Northern met Kirklees. There were 8 from Kirklees,
Graham West, Mark Scar, Lake Conley, and other officers. So quite a show from Kirklees. Apparently they talked a lot around the repairs, but there wasn't any real commitment, or not at this point. There has been a scheme of repairs that apparently has been on Will Acorn's desk since last spring. So quite why they haven't done anything, I don't know. So now they are waiting for this scheme to come to them by March, and if it's satisfactory, then I think that would be probably the end of it, as long as they do what they say they're going to do. The other issue on there is the TRO, proposed TRO, that covers the whole of that road, not just Ramsey Road. And I can lump in Cheesegate now as well with that. I think the original thinking from Peak and Northern was that if they threatened Kirklees with this section 56 and going to court, they would put the TRO in place so that they didn't have to do the repair. Now in the event, they haven't done that. And so Peak Northern are now taking the view that we're not withdrawing from this now, we're going to make the repair it anyway. If they really pulled the finger out and got the TRO in place and stopped the traffic that's causing the damage, then it might be that at some point Peak Northern would say you don't need to do any more. But I think there's a fair bit of suspicion about whether it will actually happen or not. As it stands, these TROs in Ramsden Road, all the other roads around there, Cheesegate now, Scaly Gate, are in process. They are in the process of doing consultations, and it seems as though, from what they're saying, they are quite serious about it. It seems as though they are putting them in place. Unfortunately, you can't get anybody to tell you what's happening. I wrote to Will Acorn in beginning of January and still not had a reply. The communication is just very, very frustrating. If they'd only tell people what they were doing,
I think it, part of it is a problem of everybody there is doing the job of 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
And things slip through cracks or just join a pile and, get pushed further back because they're not as dangerous a fire to put out as the new one.
The daft thing is though, Pat, that Peak Northern actually found out what they were doing on the TROs up to December, I think, by a freedom of information. Now there's far more work in doing that
Far more,
than just replying to an email.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they chose to do it like this. But
No, I was
we are where we
just,
are.
I'm sort of partly sympathetic, but also partly, that their Kirklees communications at the moment just seem to be total rubbish in general. I mean, and I'm not anti-Kirklees, I'm not one of those people who knocks Kirklees at all, but, they kind of prevaricated about dustbin lorries when they should have just said we made a mistake. There've been two or three things where they... And their communications about car park charges haven't been very good. I mean, they must have known before they said it that it would be a big issue. Now, there are ways of dealing with it.
Okay, so that's the update on those. Suppose we consider any further action. I don't think there's anything further to do at this point. 164 planning policy and guidance. This is the heritage team.
Treasury last week didn't get anywhere. But I do now have a named person to chat to about the solar panels that we're trying to put on the toilets. So I can maybe slip that in there as well. What I did realise afterwards, after a chat with Rich late last week, is that when we requested the copy of the Honley Conservation Area, he did follow it up and I didn't get the information from him, and that's my fault, I'm sorry. They said that there was no conservation area appraisal on Farmer. So if you look on the website, it was definitely started and there is a named company there, and that was in 2021, but it never seemed materials, so, and I can't find out from any minutes anywhere whether that has just been pulled and the work never happened, or whether they got part way through but it's not been completed.
Well, Conservation Group, Conservation Group understood it had been contracted out and completed. But we'll go back to source. I'll make a phone call tomorrow.
Back to deep
Yeah.
throat.
So it looks like it was commissioned, and there's definitely evidence to say that it had been,
I mean, what it might have been done, but just
perhaps not
then put in the
finished.
bottom drawer and never accepted.
But
paid off.
the officers don't seem to think it exists.
It's a bit like the Home Firth Conservation Area appraisal, which is just sitting gathering dust in
You
Kirkwood.
can find evidence of that online, but you can't find evidence of the
No, they accepted it, they just ignored it.
Kirkwood didn't accept that. They weren't willing to accept it because of all the things in it, but they have to do and maintain it, cost them quite a bit of money, so they didn't accept
Well,
it.
no, they acknowledged its receipt and its existence.
Yeah,
Let's
but
put it like
They
that.
didn't accept it, I suppose that's a better way of phrasing it.
Okay, what was the name about it?
The person who I'm going to be following up with.
Doesn't matter, I just, I have heard his name, I just thought it might ring a bell. 165 Design Code, Councillor Ransby.
As I spoke to you the other day, Andy, bit of a problem, the person who was going to do our artwork, as a pro bono, was pulled out through pressure of work, so we're now sourcing another pro bono. So hopefully we can grovel hard enough.
Are we really going to put forward designs that people have to stick to, that we've got for nothing?
No, it's the design work of the production of a leaflet.
Oh, a leaflet.
Yes. We're not panic. Don't panic, no. You know the design work of,
Yeah.
it's that. Sorry, don't put your gander up.
So issue with artwork.
But we'll sort that out hopefully.
Do
We
we
are grovelling.
have a rough time scale on how?
I'll try and give you an update in the next
Thank
week
you.
or so.
Okay.
Okay, 166 Place Standards, no meeting since the last report, so nothing new to report on that one. 167 Committee Budgets. Don't think we have to do anything with this, do we? Gemma, this is just really telling us where we are. Isn't it?
It's updated to include the resolutions from the full council meeting on the 18th and 29th, 29th of January was the most recent.
It's really confirming that we have got the, what we're talking about here.
Just a note then.
Tonight.
And last item 168, publicising the work of the Home Valley Parish Council.
Not really anything on planning until we've got a SID come through. I put together some articles on the youth worker that has recently started work. Really great feedback on that as well. And also we'll be rolling out digital versions of the flyers that all of you have been talking around about Home Valley. Thank you very much for your help with those.
It's been well received.
Councillor Greaves has completely flooded Holly, you can't find a space anywhere.
We tried the chicken. We got no one to put it. So that, that's it from me on that for now. Obviously we will be aiming to roll out as many good news stories about what we do in the run up to Christmas fires as much as we can.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Really suspect.
Impeccable timing.
It's not much. Well, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's not a waste of time, that's what I'm saying. It's useful discussion what we're doing. Before Mary was chairman, oh my gosh, sometimes I'm a bit banging my head against the table sometimes. It wasn't good. But it's certainly better now.
Yeah, we've got, the last time I checked, it was £165 for
Oh, actually, I've got a tip you on that.
Oh, go on then.
8:10, someone donated £100.
Lauren.
So it's £265 now.